I'm Maxx Sterling. Welcome to LARPgasm. Today we're making Lembas bread. It is said to eat a little at a time and only at need, for these things are given to serve you when all else fails. One will keep a traveler on his feet for a day of long labor, even if he be one of the tall men of Minas Tirith. So, let's go ahead and get started here. Now, I can only imagine what kind of elfy stuff elves put in this food, but this is what I'm going to use. So, you're going to want to take a whole fistful of money and go to some sort of organic food store and buy all kinds of stuff. All kinds. And then we're going to get started. First things first, chia seeds. When we're done with this is going to be better than any elf concoction. I don't know how much of this to put in, so we're just going to put like half. And add some water, but not tap water. Tap water's the devil. Now that we have our nice reverse osmosis by waterfall, water mixed in with our chia seeds, let's go ahead and stir this up. Let that sit for a while. Now, if you're not used to cooking with the good stuff, these chia seeds, you're going to want to let them sit up till they're like a gel consistency. If you ever drank a mama chia drink, that's what you need this shit to look like. Boom. Once it looks like that, we're going to start adding more stuff. So, when I say more stuff, you get some of this black salt, this evil black salt. Put some of that in there. Bam, that shit's expensive. Buy it, it's good. Then we're going to go ahead and add coconut oil. Bam. Then we get the syrup. About 40,000 calories worth ought to do. Then we're going to need applesauce. All right. Boom. Mix that stuff up. Coconut oil, as long as it's at room temperature, will dissolve a little bit. Turn this all into a nice goo for you. So let that sit for a minute. Now you're gonna mix in your flour. Well, we're not using flour. We got some almond meal. You know, mix that in a little bit at a time. You gotta pay attention to how thick this shit's getting. So we got some almond meal in here. Oh yeah. Cashew meal. Notice I don't measure shit. You know why? Because real elves don't measure shit. They just know. This has been handed down over eons. We just know. Oh shit, son. I didn't know elves like to get high. Just tell them it's for your glaucoma, baby. Oh. All right, get that arrowroot powder. One ingredient to bind them. Bam. Ground flaxseed. Golden flax. Oh man. I picked it myself. Lembas, corn. Well, let's get some cornmeal in there, huh? Sunflower seeds, sure. Not too many. Peanut butter dust. Well, what's your allergies? And in case 40,000 calories worth of maple syrup didn't do it for you, we got some monk fruit. And we got some sugar. Add to taste. Remember, that shit's supposed to be sweet. You wrap that shit in a mallory leaf, should keep good. I'm gonna mix that all up. Yeah. Let that sit for a minute. Get yourself a pan, some paper. You're gonna need something to sit this on while it chills. Grab this on out of here, make a rough ball shape, put it on there, put it in the fridge to cool down for a while. If it ain't gonna cooperate, leave it sit a little bit longer, or add some more flour / meal / arrowroot. While you're waiting on them shits to chill out, take a minute to clean up your fucked up workspace. Especially get all this cocaine. Yeah. After you've gotten your area cleaned up, rob an old lady. Take her rolling pin. Also, take the time to set your oven. 325, 350-ish. If you're not in the United States, I think that's probably like a setting 3 on your hob. I don't know. You do the math. It's going to take about 30 minutes. Light brown on the outside, the color of cream on the inside. Don't fuck it up. Don't be a noob. I went through a lot of trouble to steal this recipe from the Elves. So now your dough should be set up. Take your rolling pin, you're going to get some meal or some flour to put on there so we can roll it out flat. If you have a square cookie cutter, that's going to be your best bet. If you don't, get some daggers to go to work on these for you. I'm going to say that probably about a 1/4 inch thickness to a 1/2 inch is where you want to be at. And then from there, you're going to take and you're just going to cut out squares. Like I said, if you have a cookie cutter, that is going to be your best way to do it. If you don't have one, I would suggest buying one if you can afford it and find it. If you can't, knives are cool. If you find it sticking, get some butter, some flour, some meal, something. Put it on there so you can cut through it. If you got some meal or flour left over from rolling it out, don't sweat it, dude. It's all organic stuff. It's going to cook in. No one will know. We're going to cut these into squares. Not rocket science. Not going to waste your time. So once you start getting these on here, you got 2 options. You cut one line across it, or you do an X. If you're not the sharing kind, you know you're going to eat the whole thing yourself, I'd suggest a single line. Just do it in halves. More traditional. If you might be sharing it with more, 2 lines in the shape of an X. You want to get about a 1/4 to a halfway through, but not the whole way. Now all you have to do is wait for them to cook. In your meantime, get your ass out to the field and find yourself some fucking malloran leaves. If not, this shit's never gonna keep. And considering that just a small bit of it is more than enough food for a day, you're not gonna want to sit down and eat a 6 of these fuckers in one sitting. I don't care if you're a hobbit or not. Now, if you did this right, you should have some LemNess bread. The recipe should make about a 6, but maybe 7 or 8, depending on how thick and how big you cut them. Light brown on top, cream inside. Not quite. This is what we're gonna roll with. Now, some of them I did the single line. Some of them I did the cross. Helps prevent it from rising, but also looks cool. And if you want to share it, break it in half, break it in quarters. It's up to you. The only thing left to do is to wrap these in leaves for storage, but I can do that down in the dungeon, and we can talk about this a little bit more. The cakes will keep for many, many days if left unbroken and in their leaf wrappings. So, finding a malorn leaf this time of year, that was a quest in itself. It was actually probably harder than stealing this recipe from the Elves, but I found one. So, if you have your LemNess bread, you're going to take it, place it in the leaf, and then simply fold it up. Secure it with a bit of twine. And there you have it. Elven Bread, whey bread, LemNess. Keep it in here when you're not eating it. Be sure to hide it away from fat little hobbitses, and you'll be on your way in no time. Now, to me, when we talk about whey bread, to me, I think of pemmican. If you don't know what pemmican is, that's fine. But if you're a prepper or you're into survival, if you know anything about history with the American Indians and settlers, then the word should be familiar to you. Pemmican, what it is it's sort of like a beef jerky, but not really. What it is it's rendered fat, meat, and then usually nuts and dried fruits, berries, things like that. But when prepared correctly with lots of salt, it can last many, many years. It's a high energy food. It can be stored probably wrapped in a leaf or just in a very simple wrapping. And when you pull it out, it's a bar, and you basically can break pieces off. And it doesn't take much to basically to fill you up and give you energy. So when we talk about LemNess, I immediately think of pemmican. Now, you may have something else in mind. I'm not sure if that's what Tolkien was getting at when he wrote the novels, but that's what I think of when I think of Elven Bread. So, as far as this video, I hope you enjoyed it. This particular LemNess, lots of expensive ingredients, very high quality stuff, non-GMO, organic. The recipe itself is vegan. It would be raw, except we had to cook it at 325 to get it to stiffen up. There's lots of recipes out there, but if you want to make this, to me this is probably a very authentic version. I could see the elves using those type of ingredients and making this really a successful food. Now, if you want to make something that you can sell at your LARP, or you can take to Lord of the Rings movie night or something, and your friends are going to enjoy, I would suggest simply making something like sugar cookies and adding some savories to it. Don't make it disgusting, but figure out what goes well and complements, and throw that in there so it comes out more sort of like a bread with the savory than it would just a sugar cookie. I think that would probably be the cheapest and easiest way out of this. If you want to go a little bit further, find yourself a good sweet dough recipe and make yourself that dough, something that's going to be light colored and sort of creamy on the inside, and I think you'll be good to go. These are supposed to be a sort of wafer consistency, but that's going to be really tricky to do. But go ahead and give it a shot. If you decide to make the whey bread, I'd love to see a video response, so go ahead and throw it up there and post it. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, subscribe to my channel. I have lots of large projects on the way that I'd love for you to see. Until next time, I'm Maxx Sterling. Adventure on. Blech.